Andrew Bone here at the Rivals 5-Star Challenge. We had an opportunity to watch a lot of one-on-ones today on both sides of the ball. In O-line, D-line, we got a chance to watch DBs versus wide receivers, tight ends versus linebackers. Really an exciting day. First off, on the O-line, D-line, we got a chance to see Alabama commitment Amari Kite. I just don't think Amari knows how good he can possibly be. I mean, he's got the frame, he's got the size, he's got the strength, the power, he's got everything you're really looking for in an offensive lineman. And he's just all businesslike. He goes up to the line, does his rep, then once the whistle blows, does another rep. I mean, he doesn't talk at all. And I mentioned this on the insider message board that he and Clay Webb are two guys that just don't ever talk at all. They just go and do their work and go to the next play, and that's what I really like to see. We've seen a lot of kids that are chirping out here, that are barking at each other and just yelling, and some kids who are having attitudes. I mean, we saw one kid throw a punch, and I won't mention who that one kid was, but we've seen a lot of attitudes out here, or not a lot of attitudes, just a few attitudes, and that comes with the territory. We see that when we see a lot of football players get together and go after each other in one-on-one type situations. Everybody's trying to get noticed. Everybody's trying to win that next rep. So, it was a good day in terms of watching the O-line versus D-line. Clay Webb. I was talking to Chad Simmons, Southeast recruiting analyst for Rivals.com, and Chad and I were talking about Clay's performance today. And Chad said Clay is probably the safest 5-star in the entire class because he's just such a good kid. He's such a good football player overall. He's going to go to whichever college he decides to choose and be a 3-year starter at center. And he's still learning the center position. What a lot of people don't realize is he's never played center before until this year. So we got a chance to see him work out again. And there wasn't a lot of defensive tackles out here today. We saw a lot of defensive ends. So he was having to go up against some kids that he's never going to see at the college level. But I thought overall he had a great showing. Was really impressed with what we saw out of Clay today. Another kid that was really impressive on the O-line, D-line was Jawan Briggs. He's a Virginia commitment, defensive tackle. Kind of the only one who gave Clay a little bit of trouble today. Was really impressed with what we saw out of him. A little on the short side, but very good player. I think he's going to do really well at Virginia. We're going to jump over to the wide receivers, DBs. I'll tell you one kid that I was just blown away with Wan'Dale Robinson. We talked about him a few weeks ago on BamaInsider.com. He got an offer from Alabama. A lot of people didn't know who he was. He was this 5'9", 180, 190-pound wide receiver out of Kentucky that just all of a sudden got an offer from Alabama. And we got a chance to see him today, and now we know why. I mean, he was one of the most explosive players here, probably the best route runner here. He caught everything thrown his way, and I posted on the message board earlier. I said he reminds me a lot of Christian Kirk, and I know that's a pretty high comparison, but he was really good. And I think wherever he decides to go, he's going to have a chance to be a special weapon, and he's going to be an offensive star at whatever school he decides to choose. Jamison Williams, another wide receiver, really impressed with today. Didn't get a chance to see him early on in the one-on-ones, but saw him late, and each rep I saw him won both those reps, and just looked really good, very smooth in his route running ability. I think he's a great player. We talked to him yesterday. Sounds like Ohio State and Alabama fighting tooth and nail for his commitment, and he's going to make a decision down the road. Some other receivers that I really liked, Jaden Hazelwood. He's a Georgia commitment that he's very impressive. He's a 5-star on Rivals.com. Certainly one of the best overall players in the country. Eric Gilbert, who's a tight end, also plays a little bit of wide receiver. 2020 kid who looked really good. And we saw him do some battles against Justin Flo, the 2020 linebacker, number 2 overall player in that 2020 class. We really liked him a lot today. I mean, out of all the linebackers that we saw, I mean, he was certainly one of the most impressive ones. And there were some really good linebackers here. I mean, Ryan Davis out of Apopka, Florida, looked really good. Christian Harris had a pretty good day until he pulled up on his hamstring a little bit, decided to sit the rest of the day out. So hopefully he'll get better. But overall we saw a lot of great talented players. A lot of good guys that Alabama's recruiting, and I think that Alabama's has a good chance to sign a lot of these guys. There was only 2 Alabama commitments here, but I think when we look at this group down the road, there's probably going to be, there may be 6 or 7 commitments who competed in this event today. So stay tuned to BamaInsider.com. We've got a lot coming, a lot of interviews that we did with top guys, including Akeem Dent, Tyreek Stevenson, 2 guys who did extremely well today in the defensive backfield. Not just those guys. Derek Stingley, the #1 overall player in the Rivals 100, looked extremely good, and now we kind of know why he has that #1 overall ranking, at least the #1 cornerback ranking. He had a great showing, but we've got a lot more coming to BamaInsider.com, so stay tuned.